After watching and rewatching the Ferrari film, we believe Michael Mann's movie is, unfortunately, a significant missed opportunity. We have reflected some time before deciding to talk about it, to articulate the conflicting but generally negative feelings we had. We may be a bit brutal. We're not saying that the euro 90-odd million that the film cost were entirely wasted, but they came close. And the worldwide box office receipts are unfortunately pitiful, around euro 25 million in total. Moreover, a first discouraging sign, ironically, was evident to us when the film premiered and was very well received at the Venice Film Festival. Usually those films almost always flop at the box office. It's been available on Amazon Prime for a few days now and hasn't even reached the top of the most viewed films at the time of this review. It's fifth. And, we'll add immediately, this feature film doesn't seem to have the characteristics to become a cult classic over time, as was the case with Blade Runner, just to mention the most striking example. The American film focuses on a specific year in Enzo Ferrari's life, 1957. It's the year of the Guidizzolo tragedy, a road accident that occurred on May 12, 1957, during the last edition of the Mille Miglia, a prestigious race that takes place on the roads and towns of central northern Italy. The race was never held again after the terrible accident. 11 people lost their lives, 2 Ferrari team drivers and 9 spectators, 5 of whom were children. Enzo's eldest son Dino had died about 1 year earlier. Living with his wife Laura is, to say the least, problematic. The two have been living almost separately in the same house for some time. Enzo himself has an extramarital relationship with Lina Lardi, from whom Piero was born. Meanwhile, the company's financial situation is becoming increasingly critical because Ferrari spends all the money he has on racing. As if that weren't enough, just after Guidizzolo, the criticism Ferrari already receives from journalists, and even from the Vatican, becomes fierce. But this part is sorted out in just a few minutes near the end of the film. Some preliminary considerations. A feature film is made to sell tickets, and it does so by entertaining viewers, making them reflect, making them feel emotions, and so on. So, many liberties can be taken, and are taken, regarding the facts it is inspired by and the novels it is based on. And this is also done for practical reasons. All that material has to be conveyed in feature films that mustn't be too long. However, from this point of view, the film is quite faithful to the events it narrates and doesn't take excessive liberties. First of all, let's see what works. The actors. We've read fierce criticism of Adam Driver, who supposedly wasn't suitable for the role because he's too tall. Let us tell you a secret. Adam Driver is only 2 centimeters taller than Enzo Ferrari. The problem, if any, lies in the face and physique. Enzo in those years was quite chubby. Only in old age did he become very thin. However, Adam Driver's interpretation is fitting in our opinion. The actor has tried to immerse himself in the existential dramas and sometimes in the lack of communication of the real Ferrari, and in our opinion, he succeeded. The entire cast, in our opinion, is top-notch and works well, holding the film together. Penelope Cruz creates a strong and fragile woman who loves and hates at the same time, with an intense and convincing performance. Now let's see what doesn't work. The title, for one thing. It's not a biographical film, and therefore it's a big mistake, probably intended to attract viewers, that distorts everything else. Let us explain. It's not about Ferrari's life, but indeed about a single year, and with a perspective in which Piero Ferrari gradually becomes more and more important. So it starts one way, and then veers off into the theme of the relationship between fathers and sons, those who are no longer there, Dino, and those who are Piero. Regarding the special effects, few were used and poorly. Computer graphics, fortunately we believe used in only 2 cases, look truly done in an unskillful way, like something from the 1990s. The 2 accidents that are shown are truly terrible, not only for the dramatic outcome they had, but also for the dynamics that defy the laws of physics, and also for the viewer's eyes suddenly, for a few moments, seeming to witness a splatter B-movie, and thus inadvertently comical. Truly a terrible and incomprehensible flaw, unless they ran out of money, which is plausible. Michael Mann wanted to make this film for 30 years, they say. At this point, if he had waited a few more years, it wouldn't have changed our lives. And perhaps something better would have come out. Or perhaps not. In essence, this film leaves almost nothing. It's a great unfinished work, a film that never takes off. If we compare it, for example, to Ford v Ferrari, also known as Le Mans 66, which cost practically the same as Ferrari, 96 million euros, and grossed more than double that, We have an example of how a film about racing can be made, and well, but not only about racing. It's clear that the misunderstanding arises from the fact that it's not about Ferrari, but that it actually tries to immerse the viewer in the not-so-simple life of a complex man like Enzo. But even in this case, there could have been many ways to achieve the goal. Even the dynamics of the Guidizzolo accident could have been omitted, sparing us the catastrophic visual effects, showing instead the subsequent attack that Ferrari suffered from more than half of Italy. Ferrari will also undergo a trial that, in the end, will clear him of all charges but with the concrete risk of ending up in prison. So there was plenty of introspective material. To learn more, we recommend Luca Del Monte's book Ferrari, Suspect Guilty. And instead, the film focuses on Piero, and that's it. It's not wrong to talk about him, of course, it's just that the film turns into a big misunderstanding. Moreover, the slowness, which is suitable for an intimate film like this one wants to be, doesn't really fit with Enzo Ferrari's life, which intrinsically means dynamism and speed. The film wants to talk about the drama of a man who builds very fast cars. But one thing hurts it, by not delving into what it could, and another hurts it, when it wants to show us speed with the results mentioned above. We don't know what the director wanted to do, but the result is decidedly mediocre, probably Michael Mann's worst film. Moreover, Michael Mann is considered one of the best directors in Hollywood and boasts an enviable curriculum. Among others, we mention Manhunter, The Last of the Mohicans, Heat, Collateral, Miami Vice, Public Enemies. The doubt is that simply the director perhaps isn't suited to a biopic centered on the very Italian Ferrari. Also because in the film, there is no shortage of the usual stereotypes about Italians. Or maybe Michael Mann is in the declining phase of his career. On the other hand, his penultimate movie, Black Hat from 2015, was such a flop that the director essentially remained in limbo for 7 years, waiting to make a comeback. Ironically, he comes back with Ferrari. Could it be worse? Definitely. The film about Lamborghini is literally an unspeakable abomination with a ridiculous dubbing, mixing up the horsepower of an engine with its displacement with unintended comic results like, this car has 1,500 horsepower, and even an Enzo Ferrari in a Rolls-Royce. One other thing that's worth pointing out, the Peugeot 403, the personal car that Enzo actually used at the end of the 50s. And maybe you don't know, but the convertible version is the iconic and battered car of the legendary Lieutenant Colombo. In conclusion, after this result, we don't know if and when Ferrari will be talked about on the big screen again. Maybe we can hope for some high-quality TV series. However, for us, there remains a big question mark. Is it possible that no one can convey the epic of an extraordinary life full of contrasts, like that of Ferrari? So far, no dice. And this missed opportunity greatly reduces our hope that a good film about Enzo Ferrari and the incredible story of his creature can really be made. And the ideas certainly are not lacking. What a pity.